The sound of 20 black cars roaring down the quiet street shattered the morning calm. Neighbors peeked through their windows as men in black suits stepped out, surrounding a tiny rundown house. Inside, a poor waitress named Lila stood frozen, still holding the dish towel she had just used to wipe a cracked cup. Her heart pounded as a tall man approached her door and said, "Ma'am, the boss wants to thank you for saving his son's life." What she didn't know was that a small act of kindness she showed yesterday would soon change her entire world. Lila worked the late-night shift at a small roadside diner called Sonny's Dine-In, a fading restaurant where coffee was cheap, but dreams were even cheaper. She was 26, tired, and living paycheck to paycheck. Every day she counted coins before paying rent, skipping meals just to save a few extra dollars for her mother's medicines. That night, the rain poured endlessly, and the diner was nearly empty. The neon sign outside flickered weakly as if struggling to stay alive, much like Lila herself. She had just finished cleaning the counter when the door creaked open. A small boy, maybe 8 or 9, stood there drenched to the bone, shivering. His clothes were torn, and his eyes hollow from hunger. "Ma'am, do you have something to eat?" "I don't have money, but I can work," the boy said, his voice trembling. Lila looked at him for a moment, then glanced at the half-eaten sandwich she had saved for her dinner. She hesitated. She hadn't eaten all day. But one look at the boy's trembling lips and hollow eyes, and her heart melted. Without saying a word, she warmed up her meal, added a small cup of soup, and placed it in front of him. "Eat, sweetheart. Don't worry about the money," she whispered softly. The boy's eyes widened in disbelief. He devoured the food hungrily, whispering thank you between every bite. When he finished, he stood up and hugged her. "My dad will thank you one day. You'll see." Lila smiled sadly. "I don't need thanks, kiddo. Just stay safe, okay?" He nodded and ran back out into the storm. She watched him disappear into the darkness, never imagining that simple meal would change her life forever. The next morning began like any other. Lila woke up to the sound of dripping water from her leaky roof. Her tiny apartment was damp and cold, and the smell of wet wood filled the air. She made instant coffee and prepared for another long day at the diner. Just as she was about to leave, she heard the roar of engines outside. Curious, she peeked through her curtain and froze. A convoy of 20 black luxury cars was pulling up outside her building. Men in dark suits stepped out, their movements synchronized and disciplined, like they were guarding someone important. The neighbors started whispering, some recording videos. Before she could even process what was happening, someone knocked on her door. A tall man in a suit stood there holding an umbrella. "Are you Miss Lila Hayes?" he asked politely. Yes, she stammered. He smiled and extended his hand. "Please come with us. Our employer would like to thank you personally." Confused and terrified, she hesitated. "I think you've got the wrong person." But before she could say more, a small, familiar voice called out from one of the cars. "Miss Lila!" Her heart skipped a beat. It was the same boy from last night, clean, well-dressed, and smiling. "Dad! That's her! That's the lady who helped me!" Lila's eyes widened as the back door of the car opened, revealing a tall, elegant man stepping out in a black coat. His presence commanded respect. Cameras clicked as he walked toward her. The air around him seemed to change. He stopped in front of her and said in a deep, steady voice, "Miss Hayes, my name is Alexander Cross. I am the owner of Cross Enterprises. Yesterday, you fed my lost son when no one else would. You didn't know who he was. You just cared. That act of kindness meant more than you can imagine." Tears welled up in Lila's eyes. "I just did what anyone should do," she said quietly. Mr. Cross smiled gently. "Sadly, not everyone would. That's why I'm here today." He handed her a sealed envelope. Inside was a check and the deed to a fully furnished house near the city. Lila gasped, speechless. I can't accept this!" "You can," he said firmly. "Because good hearts deserve good lives. My son learned compassion from you yesterday, and I want the world to learn from you too." The crowd clapped, and tears streamed down Lila's face. The boy hugged her tightly again, just like the night before. From that day forward, Lila's life changed. She left the diner, opened a small charity cafe called The Warm Plate, where anyone hungry could eat for free. And every wall inside bore the same words she had told that boy once. "You don't need money to be kind, just a heart that still believes in goodness." Sometimes, the smallest act of kindness can open doors you never knew existed. Give, even when you have little, because the universe always finds its way to give back more than you can imagine.